All right, get ready, because today we're going deep into spiritual dating.
Ooh, spiritual dating.
Now, before you imagine like incense and meditation retreats,
Right.
let me be clear.
Yeah.
It's not about like chanting your way to finding the one. It's not about that.
It's more about an internal shift, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, think of it as approaching dating as a pathway for growth, learning and healing in ourselves and with our partners.
Okay. So we're not ditching the dating apps.
No.
But we are using them with a totally different mindset.
Totally.
And we've got some fascinating sources for this deep dive.
Awesome.
One even uses this metaphor of co-reparenting in relationships.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah. How do you feel about that?
That one definitely stands out. It changes how we think about supporting each other's growth. Not in a literal parenting sense, but by using these concepts of like divine masculine and feminine energies.
I'm all ears.
Yeah.
So we're going to explore that.
We are.
Plus, we'll look at practical agreements you can make with yourself.
Yes.
Powerful phrases that can transform your communication.
Love it.
And a whole lot more.
I'm excited.
I am too. So first things first.
Yeah.
What exactly are we talking about when we say spiritual dating?
Right.
One of our sources, David Prorock, defines it as viewing each relationship as an opportunity to heal and grow rather than to control and possess. What strikes you about that?
I think what's so fascinating there is that shift away from needing to control or possess your partner.
Yeah.
It's recognizing that each person you included is on their own unique path. Right. And relationships become this amazing space to learn from and support one another.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And this isn't just about waiting for that perfectly enlightened partner to appear. It's about making the choice to approach all your relationships, romantic or otherwise, with that lens of self-awareness and growth in mind.
Totally.
So let's break it down. What are some of the core principles that really make dating more spiritual?
Well, one that really jumps out at me is the idea that relationships act like mirrors.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, they reflect back not just our strengths, but also those areas where we might need to do some inner work.
Ooh, I like that.
It can be uncomfortable, but it's so valuable.
Right. It's like, pointing the finger and realizing 3 are pointing back at you.
Exactly.
So spiritual dating flips that blame game on its head.
Yeah.
And asks us to look inward at our own patterns, reactions, and triggers.
Exactly. Another key principle is embracing non-possessive love.
Oh.
This is huge.
Yeah.
It's about allowing your partner the freedom to just be themselves without trying to change them or fit them into some mold you've created.
Right.
It takes real trust and a willingness to let go of expectations.
So respecting their journey.
Yes.
Even if it leads them in a different direction than you expected.
Exactly.
Wow.
And that can be a huge GE challenge, but it's also incredibly freeing for both people. Right. It allows for genuine connection without that weight of codependency.
Now, that doesn't mean we just accept unhealthy behavior.
No.
Or throw boundaries out the window, right?
Not at all.
Right.
Healthy boundaries are crucial in any relationship.
Right.
That's actually where the idea of personal agreements comes into play.
Okay.
Something we'll dig into more later.
Right.
It's about setting intentions with yourself about how you want to show up, regardless of who you're dating.
I like that.
Yeah.
Shifting from external expectations to internal agreements.
Yes.
It makes me realize that approaching dating this way could lead to some serious personal growth.
Absolutely.
Even if a particular relationship doesn't last forever.
You're right on the mark. And that leads us to another big principle. There's no one right outcome in a relationship.
Okay.
Whether it's a short-term connection or a lifelong partnership, each one has the potential to teach us something valuable.
So it's not about hitting those milestones, like marriage or living together, but more about being present in each moment.
Yes.
And honoring how the connection naturally unfolds.
Exactly.
That takes so much pressure off, doesn't it?
It really does.
Yeah.
It lets us appreciate each relationship for what it is, without getting caught up in striving for some predetermined goal.
Okay, let's talk about those personal agreements you mentioned.
Yes.
Our source suggests that making these agreements with ourselves is key to setting intentions and staying aligned in our dating lives.
Right.
One that stood out was, I commit to honoring my own healing and growth first. What are your thoughts on that?
That's a powerful one.
Yeah.
It's really about taking responsibility for your own well-being.
Okay.
You're not looking for someone to fix you or complete you.
Right.
You're showing up whole and ready to share your authentic self rather than seeking someone to fill a void.
I see. I see.
Yeah.
Another agreement that resonated with me is I will communicate my truth compassionately and clearly. This one is about fostering honesty and open communication.
Yes.
Even when it's difficult.
It's about fostering honesty and open communication even when it's difficult.
Because real connection requires vulnerability and transparency.
Absolutely.
Even when it feels risky.
It does.
Yeah.
And that can be so challenging.
Right.
But it's also incredibly rewarding.
Okay.
When both people feel safe to express themselves authentically, that's where the real magic happens.
This is already making me rethink my approach to dating.
I love it.
Okay, there's one more concept that keeps coming up. Non-attachment.
Okay.
What's the deal with that in the context of spiritual dating?
It's a big one.
Yeah.
Non-attachment in this context is about releasing the need to control the outcome of the relationship or your partner's behavior.
Right.
It's about loving someone for who they are.
Yeah.
Not for who you want them to be
Right.
or who you think they should become.
It reminds me of another agreement from the source.
Okay.
I will practice non-attachment and release expectations of others. It's so easy to slip into that trap of having an idealized version of a partner in our heads.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
We all do it.
We do.
But non-attachment allows us to actually appreciate the present moment.
Right.
And the unique beauty of each individual without trying to force them into our own preconceived mold.
This is making so much sense.
Good.
It's about embracing the journey, not clinging to a specific destination.
Yes.
Okay, before we go any further,
Yeah.
I have to ask about the co-reparenting metaphor.
Okay.
It's such a unique way to look at relationships.
It is, and I think it can be incredibly helpful in understanding how to create a supportive and healing dynamic.
I'm hooked. Break it down for me.
Okay.
How does this co-reparenting idea actually play out in a real relationship?
It's about recognizing and working with both the divine masculine and feminine energies that exist within each of us,
Okay.
regardless of gender.
Okay, hold on. What does that even mean?
Okay, so
Paint me a picture.
think of the divine masculine as that energy of grounded action, stability, clarity, providing a steady presence.
So like being the rock,
Yes.
the secure foundation in the relationship.
Exactly. And then there's the divine feminine,
Okay.
which is all about nurturing, acceptance, creating a space for emotions to flow freely.
So holding space for vulnerability,
Yes.
offering that soft place to land when things get tough.
You got it.
Okay.
And the beauty of this co-reparenting concept is that both partners can embody both of these energies.
Okay.
It's not about assigning roles based on gender.
I see that.
Yeah.
So it's not about one person parenting the other,
Right.
but rather each person bringing these different qualities to the relationship
Exactly.
in a way that supports mutual growth.
Exactly. And by consciously tapping into these energies, we can create a much more balanced and fulfilling dynamic.
Give me an example.
Sure.
How would this actually look in a real-life scenario?
Imagine your partner is having a really rough day. You could tap into the divine feminine energy by truly listening, offering empathy and support without trying to immediately fix their problems.
And then on the flip side,
Yeah.
when it comes to your own needs,
Yes.
you could tap into the divine masculine to set clear boundaries
Absolutely.
and communicate them calmly and directly.
Exactly. It's about finding that balance between offering support and honoring your own limits.
Right.
It's about both partners taking responsibility for their own well-being while also creating a safe space for each other to grow.
I'm already starting to think about how I can bring more of both of these energies into my own relationships.
Good.
Like a whole new language for connection and support.
And it's a language that can transform not only your romantic relationships, but your interactions with everyone in your life.
That's a great point. Speaking of language, I'm dying to know about these powerful phrases for creating deeper connections.
This is where things get really interesting. Words have a way of building bridges or putting up walls in our relationships. In the context of spiritual dating where vulnerability is so key, choosing the right words can really make all the difference.
That makes total sense. So how can we use language to actually create a deeper connection, especially when we're first getting to know someone? Our source highlights several phrases specifically designed for this. What are some that really stand out to you?
One that I really love is, you have so much worth and strength just as you are. It's about reflecting someone's inherent value back to them, especially if they're struggling with self-doubt.
It's like a verbal reminder of their own inherent worthiness. Sometimes we need to hear it from someone else, especially someone we're starting to care about.
Exactly. And it can be incredibly powerful to receive that kind of affirmation, to feel seen and appreciated for who you truly are. Another phrase that I found really helpful is, I don't need anything from you other than for you to be yourself.
Wow, that one cuts right to the heart of non-attachment, doesn't it? It's giving someone the freedom to be authentic without the pressure of meeting your expectations.
Exactly. It's about embracing their wholeness, even the parts they might be hesitant to show. And it's about recognizing that their journey is their own. You're there to support them, not to control the outcome.
This is already shifting how I think about communicating in relationships. What about when someone is really struggling with self-acceptance? Is there a phrase that can help create a safe space for them to open up?
This one can be incredibly powerful. It's okay to feel unsure or even uncomfortable with certain parts of yourself.
What I love about that is the compassion and validation it offers. It acknowledges that we all have those parts of ourselves we haven't fully embraced yet.
Right. It creates a space for those parts to be seen and acknowledged without judgment. Offering that kind of unconditional acceptance can be so transformative.
These are more than just words. They're tools for building intimacy and genuine connection. But relationships aren't always smooth sailing. What about when conflict inevitably arises? Are there phrases that can help navigate those choppy waters in a more constructive way?
Absolutely. One of the most powerful things we can do when conflict comes up is to take responsibility for our own feelings. Instead of pointing fingers, we can use phrases like, I feel hurt when, or I'm feeling triggered right now because.
That takes a lot of self-awareness. It's about owning our own experience rather than projecting it onto our partner.
You nailed it. By expressing our feelings in a clear, non-blaming way, we open the door to understanding and resolution.
It's about responding, not reacting. Instead of getting defensive or shutting down, we pause, we reflect, and we communicate from a place of awareness. But what about when our partner is the one who's upset? What are some phrases that can help them feel heard and understood?
When your partner is sharing their hurt or frustration, you can use phrases that validate their experience. Like, I hear you saying that you feel, or it makes sense that you would feel that way.
It's about creating that safe space for them to express themselves fully without feeling judged or dismissed. This whole conversation is making me realize that spiritual dating is really about mindful communication. Not just what we say, but how we say it.
You're absolutely right. It's about being aware of our tone, our intention, the energy we bring to the conversation. Speaking A&D, listening with compassion and respect.
It sounds like a lot of work. Is spiritual dating only for people who are already super self-aware and emotionally evolved?
Not at all. It's a journey. We're all learning and growing as we go. The important thing is to be open to new perspectives, willing to challenge those old patterns, and committed to showing up authentically.
So it's not about being perfect, but about being willing to learn and grow alongside your partner.
Right. It's about embracing the messiness of being human and realizing that we're all in this together.
This has been so eye-opening. We've covered a lot of ground here, from those core principles of spiritual dating to those powerful phrases for building deeper connections. What other nuggets of wisdom await us as we continue this deep dive?
Well, next we'll explore how to take all of this knowledge and actually apply it to your everyday dating life. We'll dive into practical tips for setting boundaries, navigating those tough conversations, and ultimately creating a dating experience that truly nourishes your soul.
I'm ready. This is about to get even more interesting.
It is. Yeah. We'll explore how you can bring these principles and phrases to life, not just in the initial stages of dating, but as relationships evolve.
This is getting me excited. Let's jump right in. All right, we're back.
Yes.
And ready to unpack how we can actually integrate these principles and phrases into our dating lives.
Yes.
It's all well and good to talk about it.
Right.
But how do we actually put this into practice?
That's the key question, right?
Yeah.
I think it starts with awareness.
Okay.
Paying attention to your patterns, your triggers, your reactions.
Okay.
What comes up for you in different dating scenarios?
Yeah.
What are those underlying fears or expectations that might be driving your behavior?
So bringing mindfulness to the whole dating process, instead of just going through the motions, we're really tuning in to what's happening internally.
Exactly. And once you have that awareness, you can start to make different choices.
Yeah.
Let's say you notice that you keep attracting partners who are emotionally unavailable.
That's a pattern I know all too well.
Yeah.
What's the spiritual dating approach to breaking that cycle?
It's not about blaming the other person,
Okay.
but rather asking yourself, what's my role in this dynamic? Is there a part of me that's afraid of intimacy?
Okay.
Am I unconsciously recreating old patterns from my past?
So we're doing some deeper work.
Yes.
We're not just looking for a quick fix.
Right.
We're getting to the root of the issue.
Right. And as you start to heal those deeper wounds, you'll naturally attract partners who are more aligned with your authentic self.
Right.
Remember, spiritual dating is about becoming the best version of yourself.
Oh, okay.
That's what will ultimately draw in a healthy, fulfilling relationship.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
It's about addressing the internal before the external.
Yes.
Okay, let's talk about boundaries.
Okay.
It feels like a crucial part of this whole approach.
Absolutely. Boundaries are essential for any healthy relationship.
Right.
But they're especially important in spiritual dating because it encourages so much vulnerability.
So how do we actually set boundaries in a way that feels aligned with that whole compassionate communication thing we've been talking about?
First, you have to get crystal clear on your own needs and limits.
Okay.
What are your non-negotiables? What are you hoping to experience in a relationship?
Okay.
What are you simply not willing to tolerate?
So it starts with knowing yourself, right?
Exactly.
Honoring what's truly important to you.
Exactly. And once you know your boundaries, you have to communicate them clearly and directly.
Okay.
Use I statements like, I need some space tonight, or I'm not comfortable with that.
So we're not blaming or accusing the other person.
All right.
We're simply stating our needs in a respectful way.
Right.
Yeah.
And remember, setting boundaries isn't about trying to control your partner. It's about taking care of yourself and creating a safe space for the relationship to thrive.
Right.
And it's also about giving them the opportunity to show up for you in a way that honors those needs.
It's almost like boundaries are an invitation for deeper connection because they create that space for honesty and authenticity.
I love that. They really are.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about those inevitable, difficult conversations that come up in any relationship.
Ooh, yeah.
How do we navigate conflict from a more spiritual perspective?
This is where I need some help.
Okay.
Things can get heated so quickly.
Yeah.
And I often end up saying things I regret.
We've all been there.
Yep.
Remember those powerful phrases we talked about earlier?
Yeah.
They can be incredibly helpful in navigating conflict.
Yeah.
Start by acknowledging your partner's feelings and validating their experience. Use phrases like, I hear you, or I understand why you're upset.
So leading with empathy.
Yes.
Creating that space for them to feel heard and understood before jumping in with my own perspective.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then when it's your turn to share, use I statements to express your own feelings and needs without blaming or accusing. I feel hurt when, or I need.
It's like a delicate dance, right?
It is a dance.
Taking turns, listening deeply.
Yes.
Holding space for each other's emotions.
And remember, conflict doesn't have to be a negative experience.
Right.
It can actually be an opportunity for growth and deeper intimacy. If you're both willing to approach it with curiosity and a genuine desire to understand each other, conflict can actually bring you closer.
Wow. That's a really different way of looking at it.
Yeah.
I'm realizing that this whole spiritual dating thing is a lot about reframing how we think about relationships.
It is.
And all those messy human interactions.
It is. It's about shifting our mindset.
Yeah.
Learning new tools.
And approaching those challenges as opportunities for growth.
Yeah.
It's not about being perfect.
Okay.
It's about being willing to show up with more awareness, more intention, and more heart.
This has been so inspiring.
Good.
I'm feeling more equipped to create healthier, more fulfilling relationships.
I love that.
Not just romantic ones,
Right.
but in all areas of my life.
That's what I love to hear.
Why?
And remember, spiritual dating is not a destination. It's a journey. Be patient with yourself.
Okay.
Embrace the process.
Yeah.
And most importantly, enjoy the ride.
Yes. Embrace the journey, the ups and downs, the lessons, the growth.
Exactly.
It's all part of the process.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest takeaway here. Spiritual dating is about so much more than just finding the one.
It's about using the experience of dating as a catalyst for personal transformation.
Right.
For deepening your connection with yourself and with others.
This has been such an insightful deep dive.
It has.
Thank you for sharing your wisdom with us.
The pleasure was all mine. And to our listeners,
yes,
we leave you with this question. What's one small step you can take today to bring more intention and awareness to your own dating life?
Ooh, good one.
Until next time, keep diving deep.